Blake Lively, Part 14. What is she really like? Hello, I'm H.G. Tudor, continuing the examination of Blake Lively. There are 3 lawsuits, allegations and counter-allegations. The evidence has not yet been tried. However, one point that it's worth making is that one can consider the possibility of where the truth might lie in relation to previous behaviours. Now, just because someone has consistently and repeatedly behaved in a way that would be deemed unpleasant doesn't automatically mean that their version of events on another occasion ought to be disbelieved. However, where you're assessing the credibility of 2 witnesses, and one witness as a proven instance of poor behaviour, telling lies, acting in an entitled manner, that may well colour the veracity of the evidence that they provide. Accordingly, earlier parts of this analysis provide us with a mixed bag. On the one hand, we see Lively as an individual that doesn't appear to have any family difficulties vis-à-vis parents or siblings, that has held herself out as being a kind and decent person. A snarky, but otherwise not reported as abusive relationship with her husband, and yet numerous instances, as I provided to you, of poor behaviour towards co-stars, towards journalists, towards other individuals, that she has freely admitted. With that, you might decide that you're going to look at her behaviours against that matrix of previous behaviours to determine that in actual fact she is somebody that can behave in a nasty way, and therefore you're more likely to believe Baldoni. Or you might form the view that just because someone has perhaps behaved poorly in the past, it doesn't automatically follow that they'll be telling lies, and it might be still that Baldoni is the perpetrator. I offer those thoughts as you continue to weigh up in your minds as to what Blake Lively might be and where the balance of the evidence lies. But I thought it would be useful if we looked at some of the allegations made by Lively and see if already there is any evidence that proves that she, or is likely to prove that she's right, or to counter her. Lively claims that Baldoni improvised unwanted kisses while filming, spoke frequently of a pornography addiction and sexual encounters, and entered her trailer while she was undressed and breastfeeding her infant child. Baldoni's lawsuit, however, counters Lively's claim that the entrance to her trailer was unwanted, depicting texts that appear to show Lively telling Baldoni, "I'm just pumping in my trailer if you want to work out our lines." Therefore, that suggests that he entered the trailer unwanted was actually wrong. Might it therefore be that Blake Lively has made an allegation that isn't supported by the evidence? Further in her lawsuit, Lively alleged Baldoni made comments about her weight and in one instance called her personal trainer without her knowledge because he wanted Lively, who had given birth less than 4 months prior to the incident, to lose weight within 2 weeks to film a scene in which Baldoni picks her up, though no such scene existed, according to her lawsuit. Baldoni, in his Times lawsuit, claims he had contacted the trainer to ask how much Lively weighed, which he said was a reasonable inquiry into crucial information needed to ensure safety and avoiding injury, citing his back issues and multiple bulging discs. I've mentioned earlier the fact that a lawyer representing Lively sent an email to Wayfarer Studio lawyers containing a list of various provisions that Lively requested to be fulfilled before she would resume filming, or she would pursue legal action. This contract also prohibited retaliation for raising concerns about conduct that violated the terms of the contract. Lively's lawsuit says Wayfarer Studios responded acknowledging, "Our perspective differs in many aspects. But regarding your outlined requests, we find most of them not only reasonable, but also essential for the benefit of all parties involved. Now, this isn't an admission of wrongdoing. Indeed, it's a suggestion, as Queen Elizabeth II famously remarked, recollections may vary, that we have a differing perspective as to what has gone on, but we're not adverse to what you've suggested, not as an admission of wrongdoing, but simply to get this production over the line. We don't have any problem with your requests. That might show that the requests or demands, dependent on how you framed them, being acquiesced to was a reasonable behaviour of Baldoni and not an admission of any guilt. There was the meeting with the agreement to a list of 30 conditions, which resulted in preventing certain future behaviour. Thus, Lively got her way. Some of the texts included in Lively's lawsuit appear to show Nathan and Abel orchestrating negative coverage of Lively and celebrating the apparent success of their alleged smear tactics, while admitting they didn't agree with Baldoni's alleged on-set behaviour. He doesn't realise how lucky he is right now, Nathan said in a text to Abel, which the lawsuit says is in reference to Baldoni. The whispering in the ear, the sexual connotations like Jesus fucking Christ, other members feeling uncomfortable watching it. I mean, there is just so much, Nathan continued, which the lawsuit says is in reference to Baldoni's alleged behaviour. Baldoni's lawsuit depicts texts which happen to have been omitted from Lively's lawsuit, including Nathan telling Abel it doesn't matter if it's not true because the truth doesn't win. The majority of socials are so pro-Justin, and I don't even agree with half of them, LOL, Nathan said in a text to Abel. In several text messages, the two discussed influencing negative media coverage of Lively. Nathan texted a Daily Mail article to Abel which had the headline, "Is Blake Lively set to be cancelled? String of hard-to-watch videos that have surfaced following tone-deaf Q&A to promote It Ends With Us could tarnish 36-year-old star's golden Hollywood image for good." To which Abel said, "Wow, and you really outdid yourself with this piece." Nathan responded, "That's why you hired me, right? I'm the best." Baldoni's lawsuit, however, claims the New York Times omitted an upside-down smiley emoji after Abel's text in her complaint, suggesting she was joking. Baldoni's lawsuit also includes a text from Nathan to Abel regarding the Daily Mail piece stating, "Damn, this is not fair because it's also not me." Does this demonstrate that Lively has been cherry-picking, that she has been utilising half-truths in order to try and support a position that she is advancing? Quite possibly. There was the suggestion earlier, of course, of the Norwegian journalist Kjersti Flahr being part of the alleged smear campaign, something that she completely denied, claiming that she had no involvement in that whatsoever. She explained, "I have nothing to do with Justin Baldoni and the alleged smear campaign against Blake Lively, dismissing accusations he collaborated with them or was paid by Baldoni's PR team as conspiracy theories." Another aspect of the complaint that was issued by Baldoni was in respect of being isolated with regard to various measures that Blake Lively took as part of her attempts to gain control over the film It Ends With Us. In images cited in the court documents, Baldoni, his wife Emily, and his friends and family sit at a table in a room that appears to be in a basement, and they smile for the camera. Boxes of popcorn and bottles of water and soda can be seen. In another image cited in the court documents, Baldoni poses with his friends against stacks of packs of Dasani water bottles. Baldoni is wearing the same pink suit he wore to the It Ends With Us red carpet the same day. Baldoni alleges that his guests were ushered inside and were subsequently held in the room where the photos were taken to avoid even a chance of interaction with Lively or her guests once she arrived to the event. He alleged that Lively used threats and extortion to relegate her colleagues to sit out their own premiere in the basement. They were confined to a makeshift holding area surrounded by concession stand stock with only fold-out tables and chairs arranged in a square, Baldoni's suit said. Surrounded by close friends, family, soda bottles and a lot of love, the irony of being held in a basement on what was arguably one of the most important nights of Baldoni's career thus far was not lost on anyone. Accordingly, the suggestion is that Lively had arranged to ensure that Baldoni, at his own premiere, along with his family and friends, were kept in a basement. Is this controlling behaviour? Is it a form of punishment? Does it demonstrate an absence of emotional empathy? Quite possibly that it does. But again, what we have are a range of allegations and counter-allegations between the two individuals, which have yet to be proven in a court. Essentially, the position of Lively is this. This man harassed me sexually. He caused me problems, was abusive towards me, and then when I complained about it, he's engaged on a smear campaign to make me look bad. Baldoni's position is, this woman, along with her husband, sought to take over my production, that she wanted to ensure that she was the one in charge. Now, we have heard evidence earlier about Lively's desire to insert herself into proceedings, to be more than just an actress, to be more involved in the production. Might that desire have been the case here with It Ends With Us? That she saw an opportunity, for instance, to do well out of the sequel, given that it was such a successful film. Was she seeking to take it over in the way that a narcissist would do so, in order to assert control, to show no emotional empathy for Justin Baldoni, because in effect it was his production, to not recognise the boundaries? Or is that just simply an unfounded allegation that is part of the smear campaign against her? Evidence on both sides, evidence of various inappropriate behaviour. Might it have been that what we've witnessed is a reaction to a rejection from Baldoni? Or is Blake Lively's a genuine response to a predatory male that has caused her problems? In due course, the evidence will be tested. Certainly the court of public opinion leans towards that of Baldoni, seeing Lively as the aggressor, who has misrepresented the situation, has acted in tandem with her husband, either as a joint enterprise to try and take over the production, or as quite possibly a reaction to her having developed feelings and something taking place between her and Baldoni that Ryan Reynolds found out about and was not impressed with. As I've explained earlier, we know that Reynolds is a narcissist, and therefore if he was to find that his intimate partner primary source was making eyes at another man, that would certainly be problematic for him. Furthermore, in any allegation against her, if she's a narcissist, the usual reaction would be to suggest that she's the victim, that Baldoni came on to her, that it wasn't something whereby it was mutual or even instigated by her, that she's the victim and Baldoni is the predator, causing Reynolds to erupt in the way that he did. There is more, of course, in the lawsuits, but it generally goes along the same theme of allegations from Lively that she's the victim of sexual harassment, and with Baldoni accusing her of extortion and defamation in relation to telling lies about him and unpleasant behaviours towards him, all ultimately linked to a stated aim of taking over the production. We don't need to go through them chapter and verse. This would make this unnecessarily long. But what we have is a conflict of views, and as part of that, we need to make a determination as to which side is correct. We don't have the advantage of trying the evidence, but we do have the advantage of previous behaviours and understanding the way that these dynamics can work. We've heard plenty about Blake Lively. We've heard about her upbringing. We've heard about her relationship with her parents, the relationship with her siblings, her public image. We've heard about her various relationships. We've heard also about allegations of infidelity. We've heard about numerous allegations about poor behaviour towards other people, cast members and journalists and so forth. We've heard about the manner of her marriage to Ryan Reynolds, and we have the allegations and counter-allegations flying around in relation to what went on during the filming of It Ends With Us, during the promotion of that, and then subsequently with the litigation. In the next part, I'm going to pull all of this together to make a determination as to what Blake Lively is. The evidence, as considered by me, Does it demonstrate that we're dealing with an empathic individual who is simply the victim of a narcissist husband and a potentially predatory co-star? Is it the case that she is somebody who has been hard done to and has made mistakes in the past but been wholly misrepresented and is the victim of unpleasant sexual harassment and therefore responded appropriately to that? Might she be a normal who similarly is somebody who's on the receiving end of sexual harassment? Or might she be a normal that took her chances and thought, actually, I could do well out of this production and sought to take it over? Is she narcissistic but not a narcissist? Or might she be a narcissist, imbued with a pathological need for the pursuit of the prime aims, to assert control over those around her, who deals badly with any perceived threat to her control? Somebody who seeks fuel, an individual that wants character traits and residual benefits, someone who behaves in an entitled fashion without accountability, who is manipulative, who has no regard for the feelings of other individuals or how they're impacted upon. Well, you will be forming your views based on what you have heard. Please feel free to share in the comments where you think this might end up, as in the next part, we will reach the conclusion of what is Blake Lively. I'm H.G. Tudor. Thank you for listening.